The Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, or ticker symbol SCHD, one of my largest dividend growth ETF holdings across my portfolio, has their ex-dividend date for Q2 coming up very soon here on June 26th, and the payout date for that dividend is going to be July 1st of this year. Now, because of that once a quarter dividend payout from SCHD that's coming up very soon here, it's been sort of a fun game for me to get as many shares of the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF as soon as possible, because the more shares I can gather before ex-dividend date, the larger my dividend is going to be for Q2. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about exactly how many shares of SCHD I have as of right now, how many I'm also trying to get to before this next dividend is going to be paid. But also, maybe most importantly, we're going to talk about what investors like myself that hold on to the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF can expect as far as dividend amounts go for the rest of this year, but for certain, what we can sort of expect for this next dividend coming up very soon here. So if you personally hold any shares of SCHD as of right now, make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into this one. Real quick, for those that haven't already, make sure to go to the first link in my description and grab my new dividend investing ebook, where I share exactly how I went from $0 invested to now earning over $6,000 on a monthly basis and over $1 million invested in the markets. Along with the ebook, you're also going to receive my custom dividend tracker, where you can track your dividend progress on an ongoing basis and reach your dividend investing goals. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. So like I mentioned there in the intro, the next ex-dividend date for Q2 for SCHD is coming up very soon here. We saw a dividend payout in Q1 for SCHD of just over 61 cents per share, which was up a tad from last year's first quarter dividend payout when it comes to SCHD of around 59.5 cents or so per share. Now, of course, we don't know exactly how much SCHD is going to be paying in dividends in the up and coming quarters, but at least looking at some of the historical data, looking at how much SCHD is paid out over various time frames, and especially how much SCHD historically is paid out Q2, we can hopefully gather an idea of what investors can expect. Now, before we go forward and try to figure out exactly what investors like myself can expect for the Q2 dividend for SCHD, looking back all the way back in time, looking at what this ETF has paid historically. So way back in the day, back in 2011, keep in mind SCHD paid 12 cents for the first dividend, and then shortly after that, one quarter after that, SCHD paid almost 14 cents per share. Then second quarter of 2012, SCHD paid almost 22 cents per share, which over time, if we zoom out, the SCHD dividends have been getting larger and larger over time, consistently averaging 7, 8, 9% increases year after year. Now, this is exactly one of the main reasons on why I personally have been gathering so many shares of SCHD for my personal long-term dividend growth portfolio. It's not because this ETF is going to pay me a massive amount of cash flow today. At least if history were to somewhat repeat itself, this ETF is going to give me more and more cash flow for every single share I gather sometime in the future, which is what I'm hoping for. Now, if you just have a share or two of a stock or ETF and they announce a dividend increase, it's of course not really going to make or break or change your portfolio all that much. But over time, as you stack up more shares of a stock or ETF that announces a dividend increase, it's going to substantially impact the amount of annual dividend income you receive. And the best part of all with this, you did nothing to get the increase. You just held onto the asset, and that's it. Now, in the case of SCHD, for example, just to prove how much dividend growth and how much more this ETF has paid over time, in December of 2023, a 74-cent dividend was paid, and 10 years ago, 10 years prior, a 28-cent dividend was paid. So just 10 years later, SCHD is paying just under 3 times as much on a quarterly basis to investors, which I'm going to show you here in a second what that math looks like, but it's substantial. Now, to get back to the topic at hand, how much is SCHD going to pay us next month? For the Q2 dividend, looking back historically at least, we see that in the last 3 years, this ETF's dividend has increased around 8.56% on average, the last 5 years around 11.8%, and the last 10 years, the 10-year CAGR dividend growth rate is 10.87%. Now, I get what you're automatically saying is that just because this ETF paid more and more in dividends over certain time periods does not mean that it's for sure going to in the future. But just doing some back of the napkin simple math here, last year's second quarter, SCHD paid 66 cents per share. So if we were to multiply 66 cents by 8%, that's a pretty conservative estimation. That means that SCHD could potentially, at least going off of some historical numbers, pay us 71.28 cents per share next quarter. Now, there's been times historically where SCHD's dividend has, of course, went up a lot more. So just for another example, if we were to multiply 66 cents by 11%, that means that in theory, we could be expecting a 73-cent dividend payout next month. Now, another thing to take into consideration, especially if you want to look at things very closely when it comes to dividend growth style ETFs like SCHD, is that a lot of times these ETFs pay out a different amount at a different cadence depending on what quarter it is in the year. Now what I mean by that is that at least historically, SCHD normally pays their largest dividend every single time, fourth quarter in December, but it's not always the case. There have been times where the second quarter dividend has been also larger, etc., etc. But across the entire community, and what I personally think, what I'm going to guess right here on this video today, and I want you guys to comment down below and guess what you think the next dividend payout is going to be for SCHD. I personally think that we are going to be getting between 70 and 71 cents per share as far as Q2 goes for 2024. Now, what's awesome about this is that as of right now, if SCHD does of course pay 70 cents, which I'm really hoping for, something around 70 cents, maybe 69, 68, maybe 71, we'll see. But with the amount of shares I have as of today, and keep in mind, like I said, I'm most definitely going to add more shares to my portfolio before ex-dividend date. But regardless, just going off of the day, I'm expecting a $436 payment from SCHD if we're looking at 70 cents per share in the form of dividend payouts. Now, what's kind of cool about that is that if I were to drip that money right into more shares of SCHD, which personally, as of right now, I do not have my dividend set up as drip. I like to have all the cash balance from dividend payouts sent to my broker, and I like to buy stocks and ETFs on an ongoing basis. But just in theory, I'm able to buy right now around 5.5, 5.6 shares of extra SCHD every single quarter just with the shares I have as of right now. Now, lastly, I wanted to leave you guys with this. This is something else I was thinking about as of recently, and this is because as of recent, I have been buying a ton of shares of SCHD over the last year or so, as you guys probably know at this point. But with the shares of SCHD I have as of right now, again, just all in the context that I'm not necessarily going to keep buying more shares, which, like we said, probably know I'm trying to get to 1,000 shares ASAP. But just for a second, imagine I'm not going to keep buying more shares. Something I was thinking about and something that I was actually adding up in my head and sort of figuring out is that even if I didn't buy another share of SCHD, what would my dividend income just from the shares that I have as of right now look like month over month, quarter after quarter, if of course SCHD does continue to raise their dividend on average around 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12%. The amount that I sort of came up with is that even with right now my 623 shares, if I personally was not to add another single share, I'm currently, as of right now, just going off that 7%, 8% increase on average. I'm currently earning another $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 every single month if you were to average it out in forward monthly dividend income, which is substantial, at least to me. So that's definitely something I recommend you guys doing, messing around with dividend calculators and calculating out exactly how much dividend income you're not only receiving today, but go through and build off different models and see exactly how much your assets are really going to be producing for you, even in the near term future. Because like I've said before, even an extra $1 a month, an extra $2 a month, or in this case for me, an extra $8 or $9 every single month, if of course SCHD does somewhat raise their dividends like they have been, that's a substantial amount of money, especially if I keep on reinvesting those dividends and put them into more shares of SCHD and really just keep my snowball building and building and building. So all in all, we don't know exactly how much this ETF is going to pay us in the form of dividends in Q2, but I personally think it's going to be somewhere around 68, 69, or 70 cents. But like I said, I want you guys to comment down below. Let us know what you think SCHD is going to pay us out next month in dividends. Drop it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.